might be the biggest times that we've ever been in, which it might be also hard to believe that. Hi, if you're just joining. Okay, so type your first name in the chat if you'd like me to pull you a card at the end. I'm going to do my little rant about the astrology. I'm going to tell you about some ways that you can work with me, and then I'd love to pull you a card for just eclipse season, how to prepare, okay? Because this is big stuff. Hi, Anna. I'm going to be seeing you soon. I'm so excited to work with you today. Okay, so literally as soon as I opened up the kind of like the record for this time, it's just like there's just so much. And so for me, I just decided to open up a pop-up. So I'm going to do a pop-up on April 30th. If you're already in Crown Codes or you're in my Activate Shakti group, you're in, you got it, you're in that workshop with me. If you're not in either of those programs with me, that's okay. I'm opening up this pop-up. It's a 2-hour workshop with me. We're diving into your chart. We're diving into the charts for what's happening in the sky. And we're doing the deeper work because for me, the way I use astrology or look at astrology is, yes, we can know that your moon is in this sign and this is what it means. But for me, I really like to go into the embodiment. Where are you being called into more divine action into your life? Where are you being called to embody more of your life? And I just can't tell you how much there is to get from this time. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If you don't dive in around this new moon partial eclipse, it's going to be intense. The lunar eclipse, the full moon eclipse, is in Scorpio, and that is our full eclipse. Anytime we have a lunar eclipse, I kind of go, like if it's a total lunar eclipse, I kind of like, am I ready for that? And then this one's in Scorpio. This is big. And so this is why I'm doing the pop-up. I'm like, we got to get in there, guys. We got to work together. We got to community build. And the card that I pulled to prepare you for eclipse season is the apprentice, the bee. And so apprentice really has to do with our world is changing. Duh. Doy. Our world is changing. We all kind of feel that. And the bee card might be calling you to a spiritual gathering. And this is what this is. So I'm doing a pop-up on April 30th. If you're interested in that, I will have a link in my story. And I'll try to get one up on my profile soon. Big times we're in, okay? So basically, I want to introduce a couple things that you might be familiar with. One is Saturn and Pluto have both been very active, okay, in the sky, in collaboration with other things that are happening. The full moon that we just had really hit us hard. For most beings, it hit people pretty hard. And why is that, right? What is it asking of us? And this is the deeper work that we want to do. We don't want to be like, oh, the stars are like doing this thing, or Mother Earth is doing this thing, or like trying to like blame this outside force when in reality, anything that is outside of us is also within us. And so what is asking for a reckoning? What is asking for this initiation? What is asking for us to come into awareness and have a healing around? And we really need to be open and receptive to that. And this is a big message that I had a really rough day yesterday, and that typically happens for me personally. That typically happens when I'm being asked to step into a new leadership role, or I'm asked to step in, like I'm preparing for Crown Codes, which is a big deal for me. This is the first time I've taught a business alignment program. And so yesterday, so much was coming through around when we're receptive to the wrong types of information, when we've been conditioned to be receptive to things that aren't actually feeding us, when we're opening up to consuming knowledge or information that is not helping us to actually transform anything, that is actually just keeping us more stuck in where we are, focusing on the problems, focusing on lack. So there's so much coming through about this receptivity, and this is very telling because we just got into Taurus season. So we are going to have the new moon. It's a partial eclipse, the new moon partial eclipse in Taurus, and the full moon total eclipse, lunar eclipse, and Scorpio. These are both feminine signs. These are both yin energy. And this is about where we have blocked ourselves off from the receptivity because we've received things we didn't want to receive, where we've not trusted ourselves or even our intuition, where we've been too deep into things that aren't serving us, where we've let our consciousness go into things, into different programs or conditioning that is ultimately keeping us right where we don't want to be. So as you're joining, hi Mira, hi Ashley. Okay, so if you'd like a card to prepare for this eclipse season, and I love that I'm talking about the Taurus Scorpio eclipses, and Mira pops in. So if you'd like a card for this eclipse season, type your first name in the chat, I'll pull you a card. Okay, so this is big energy. And so when we're in this time frame where we're moving away from that crazy illuminating full moon that we just had, we're being asked to release, like, as much as you can. Be aware of releasing, journaling, clearing, doing healing work. Allowing things to come into consciousness is what clears them. And many times we will try to avoid that because we're afraid of the pain. We're afraid of the suffering. We're afraid of what it's going to feel like, what it's going to look like, what's going to come through. And ultimately, it's that fear that keeps us stuck, right? It's that fear that we think maybe it'll just like go away on its own that keeps us where we don't want to be. So I want to invite you to look into a couple things. Again, like I said, I'm open to talking about this, and so much came through, so much so that I'm like, I'm just going to do a workshop on this energy, which is going to be April 30th. So if you're interested in that, check the link in my story. I also have crown codes coming up, and I've made it a bonus. This workshop is a bonus. If you register for crown codes, the 6-week group journey with me into your business energetics and coming into your crown and your knowing and your truth and your mission in a bigger, brighter way, you'll get this workshop. I also have 2 spots open for 3-month coaching with me. So if you're interested in that, you'll get all of this with that, and along with pretty much 3 of my other programs that are aligned with that 3-month journey, which is about deep transformation and deep showing up in your world. So those are the things that I have offerings that I have coming up in May. Sorry. The workshop's April 30th, and then May we get going with crown codes, and the spots open up for the 3-month coaching with me. Okay, so the invitation. I'm looking at the charts for the eclipses, and the thing that is like blaringly obvious to me is there's so much changing in the collective. There's so much that is coming through with the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, and now the very personal planet Venus is going to be conjunct all of that, which makes it personal. And it's a beautiful conjunction. It's starting a whole new cycle, right? And so we want to be open, receptive to the information, the transformation, the crown essence of who we are, who we've always been, but has been shaded by the conditioning, the programming, the mental slavery, to be honest with you, that as how our world has functioned in the past. This is how this connects into Pluto and Saturn. Pluto and Saturn were conjunct in January of 2020. If you have a journal, this is why I recommend journaling. If you have a planetary planner, if you have a journal where you can go look back at that conjunction in your life, what was going on for you then? What was coming up for you then? That was before the world changed like in a visible way. Okay? And so we really want to understand that, because when I look at these charts, what's glaringly obvious to me is that conjunction, now as Saturn's moving away, obviously, into Aquarius, it's forming different connections with these eclipses, okay? This last full moon we had, and now these 2 eclipses that we're getting. Pluto is the deep that we don't want to see. It's our pain body. It's the icky. It's the underworld, right? But it's through being courageous enough to go there that we gain our power back. And this is pretty much my whole business is based on the Pluto principles, Hecate principles. And this is really important as we're coming to these eclipses. Anything that you're afraid of looking at or you're trying to avoid is going to be thrown in your face in a way where it's unavoidable. And this is not to be like fear mongering. This is to tell you that fear is the devil. Fear is the thing that keeps you from going there. And so if this lights you up, like I have some people in my world that they're like, oh, I just get so scared. It's like, okay, what is the fear? Like, why is that going to be the thing that keeps you from your power? How are you going to let fear keep you from your power? Come on now. And then we have Saturn, okay? So Saturn is structure. Saturn is discipline. Saturn is like, as I say, like kind of like holding you down until you get the lesson. And then it's like waiting for you to be like, uncle, you know, like that old saying, like, uncle. Because it's like, it's not going to let you up until you got it. And yes, that sucks. In a lot of ways, we want to not fully embody here. We want to be like, oh, I have my meditation practice. Oh, I have my thing. And that's great and fine. But you came in a body in the flesh for a reason. And Saturn is pretty much that reason. Saturn is like, wherever he is in your chart, get to know him, get to know Pluto in your chart. Because these are the uncomfortable things. Jupiter and Neptune are like, this is the juicy thing. This is what you're working towards. This is why. This is your, your initiation. This is your promise. Like, this is what will come to you from this. And Pluto's like, yeah, but it might get you. It's like the boogeyman in the closet. And Saturn is like the trudgery, like the like really having to like work at it, okay? And yeah, some of us have stronger of these placements in our chart, so they're going to be working with it in a different way, okay? So you might see people in your realm, in your world, where you're like, why do they seem fine? First of all, they might not have a soul. I'm just kidding. Second of all, we can't compare and contrast our journeys. Our journeys are all different based on what we're trying to accomplish in this lifetime, okay? And so this is why the chart is such a beautiful thing, because it's not condemning you. It's not withholding from you. It is showing you, based on your free will, how you can work with your soul's mission in a deeper, bigger way. That's it. That's all it is. And so it's a map. It's a way to understand these different things that are coming through for you and why. And some people have a lot of trines in their chart. Some people have a lot of sextiles in their chart. And then there's some people that have a lot of squares. And, everybody's journey is different. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to share about these eclipses. So let me just make sure I finished up with the Pluto and the Saturn. So they were conjunct 2020. Why we want to look at that? Because that was that's a whole new world. That's setting a whole new cycle. The last time they were conjunct was 1981, the year I was born. 1981 was a weird year because Jupiter and Saturn conjunct. Then Saturn went on to conjunct Pluto. Okay, so it really was a turning point in a lot of ways. Now, where we are right now, and we've had a lot of these conjunctions as well, a lot of things are coming together, and it's like, as an astrologer, we're always pretty busy, but when we're like this, where it's like, I can't stop talking, and there's so many things, and then there's this that relates to that, that is a turning point in the collective. And, a lot of people are talking about, there's been a lot of solar flares. The solar flares are representative of the energy, right? And the astrology is representative of the energy. And so when we're getting a lot of these activations, it allows us to bring light to these darker areas. Pluto and Saturn are the darker areas. And so both of those are very lit with these eclipses. And when we're looking at that, we also want to be aware of where Taurus and Scorpio is in our chart. And honestly, because of that, any of the fixed signs. So we have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. This is a big time. Like if you have a lot of those fixed energies in your chart, we are now in the eclipses for 18 months. We're here where it's shaking up that area. Not only that, but then we have Uranus and Taurus shaking up that area. Where you have found stability in the past is not where you're going to find stability in the future. And it's really important to let go and let God. And this is Jupiter and Neptune together. And letting go for fixed signs is very scary. And so we have to be with that part of us that's scared to let go. And really, Scorpio unearths secrets and unearths the nitty-gritty. It is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the uncomfortableness. So there's really no avoiding it. This next month is going to be uncomfortable. There's no way to avoid it. What you can do is fucking work with it, is unpack it, dissect it, really get into it. Allow yourself to go there and be supported. And this is why I'm hosting that workshop. And this is why I have these other programs at this time to support you in this huge initiation into this new energy.